Chosen one. They underestimated the divine fire sleeping in your bones. What they mistook for fragility was actually divine restraint, cosmic power cloaked in humility. When they launched their attacks, the heavens responded not with noise, but with undeniable shifts. Timelines shattered. Karmic justice hit harder than their intentions ever could. The same hands that tried to pull you down are now trembling under the weight of consequences. You weren't just protected, you were chosen to reveal the true cost of spiritual betrayal. Chosen one. They built an invisible web around you, thinking confusion and false alliances would weaken your spirit. But what they failed to realize is that your soul is encoded with divine intel, higher than any network they could ever construct. Every whisper, every planted seed of doubt, every spy posing as a friend only sharpened your discernment and activated ancient instincts buried deep within your DNA. What was meant to isolate you only calibrated your clarity. They studied your steps, but they never understood your essence. And now, the very system they designed to entrap you is collapsing under the weight of its own deception. They thought collecting your secrets would grant them control, that dissecting your past would hand them the keys to your downfall. But in their obsession with surveillance, they missed the most critical truth. You are cloaked in divine encryption. The more they probed, the more they unknowingly triggered divine protocols that sealed your destiny even tighter. Every attempt to expose you only exposed them. The smear campaigns, the manipulations, the whispers in dark rooms, all of it ricocheted back with spiritual velocity. They studied your humanity, but they never calculated the supernatural firewall guarding your soul. They launched their attacks blindfolded by envy, never realizing they were walking into a battlefield already claimed by forces of light. While they analyzed your movements through the lens of malice, celestial warriors had already circled you, their swords drawn in realms unseen. They couldn't detect the sacred frequency you move in because darkness cannot decode divinity. They searched for vulnerability, but found invincibility dressed in grace. Every prayer whispered by your ancestors, every shield placed by your angels, made their efforts not just futile, but self-destructive. They weren't just wrong about you, they were outmatched by a kingdom they never saw coming. They judged you through a distorted lens, unable to recognize the discipline it took to become who you are. While they searched for cracks in your identity, they overlooked the sacred architecture of your soul, built brick by brick through shadow work, humility, and sacred communion. They saw your boundaries as attitude, your silence as guilt, your healing as delusion. But truth doesn't beg to be understood. Your energy spoke in frequencies they couldn't interpret, vibrating above their comprehension. They wanted to find flaws to exploit, but all they uncovered was a mirror reflecting back everything within them they refused to confront. They assembled in numbers, thinking quantity could overpower quality, that noise could drown out divine resonance. But what they failed to grasp was that your alignment made you immovable, your spirit locked into frequencies sourced from realms they cannot access. While they scrambled in chaos, you moved with sacred intention, guided by unseen hands and ancient wisdom. They tried to disrupt your path, not realizing your steps were ordered by forces beyond human comprehension. It was never a fair fight because you weren't standing alone. You were the vessel of a higher will, a walking embodiment of spiritual authority, and no coalition of egos can overthrow what's divinely ordained. While they chased shortcuts and illusions of power, you chose the narrow path, the one lined with discipline, integrity, and sacred intention. Every time you said no to temptation, every time you honored truth over convenience, you forged another layer of spiritual armor around your life. They mocked your standards, labeled your discernment as judgment, and called your elevation arrogance. But your consistency was a weapon they couldn't predict. Justified in their minds, they moved against you with boldness, unaware they were stepping into a realm where falsehood cannot survive. What they tried to destroy was never just a person, it was a divine assignment, wrapped in divine protection and sealed by divine law. They moved with audacity, convinced they had the authority to rewrite your story and orchestrate your demise. In their delusion, they crafted a spectacle, plotting your collapse like it was entertainment, hungry to see you stripped of dignity before an audience they manipulated. Their campaign was surgical: smear your name, twist your truth, and surround you with echo chambers of deceit. But what they failed to calculate was this: your identity isn't rooted in public opinion, but in divine origin. Every lie spoken against you became a curse returned to sender. And while they rallied shadows to dim your light, they accidentally summoned the very storm that would reveal who you truly are: unbreakable, undefeated, and chosen by forces no slander can reach. They weaponized fear, cloaking their deceit in religious language and false righteousness, crafting demonic tales to make others view you as a threat to their comfort and control. They forged scenes, planted lies, and twisted scripture to justify their betrayal, hoping hysteria would bury your truth. But the realm they forgot to consider was the spiritual one, where intentions are seen clearer than actions. While they schemed in secret, divine protection moved swiftly, intercepting every arrow before it could land. The more they tried to demonize you, the more your light exposed their illusions. They didn't realize lies can't stick to the anointed. You were already sealed by something far greater than their propaganda. The moment you chose silence over spectacle, grace over retaliation, a divine shift ignited in the unseen. While they expected chaos from you, emotional reactions, desperate explanations, you gave them stillness rooted in power. That refusal to lower your frequency became your loudest weapon. In a world addicted to drama, your peace disrupted everything. Heaven took note. And while they whispered, pointed, and plotted, your restraint summoned divine intervention that couldn't be ignored. You didn't just rise above the attack, you rendered it powerless. For nothing confuses darkness more than someone who lets truth do the talking and lets the Most High do the defending. Your calm became their greatest frustration, unraveling the scripts they had so carefully written for your downfall. Every attempt to bait you into conflict fell flat, like echoes in an empty chamber. They needed your reaction to validate their stories, to rally their followers, but your unwavering composure dismantled their foundation. As you moved forward with clarity and intention, their tactics grew reckless, exposing their desperation to all who watched. In your silence, you wielded the most powerful truth, that true strength is not in battle, but in rising above it, untouched, unshaken, and sovereign. Their fury grew louder, but without your fuel, it became hollow, an erratic storm raging against an immovable mountain. The very spectacle they crafted to shame you morphed into a mirror reflecting their own chaos and defeat. You held a wisdom they lacked. That power grows not by confrontation, but by transcendence. Your light didn't just shield you, it illuminated the truth for all to see. With every step rooted in purpose and faith, you opened a channel for divine justice to flow freely, allowing cosmic balance to restore itself without your direct involvement. In letting go, you became untouchable, proving that the highest victory comes from surrender to the greater plan. Every attempt to break you only fueled the blaze of your inner fire, turning every curse into a catalyst for your rise. Your spirit, forged in the crucible of divine light, acted like an unbreakable shield, repelling shadows with effortless grace. Ancestral guardians, awakened by your unwavering faith, formed an impenetrable circle around your essence, their ancient strength flowing through your veins. What your adversaries never foresaw was the unseen army summoned on your behalf, forces beyond mortal reckoning, weaving miracles and disruptions that shattered their schemes before they even took form. You weren't just protected, you were a living testament to the unstoppable power of divine allegiance. The moment heaven stepped into the fray, the tide turned with unstoppable force. What was meant to harm you became a reckoning for those who opposed you. Their weapons, forged from malice and ignorance, shattered against the fortress built by your unwavering dedication. Years of sacred rituals, quiet prayers, and humble service wove an invisible armor, each act of growth strengthening the spiritual bulwark around your soul. This unseen sanctuary baffled your enemies, who could only attack the surface, never realizing they were dismantling their own fate. Your power was not sudden. It was the inevitable harvest of a lifetime devoted to walking in divine truth. You stood apart, not as a target, but as a beacon forged through sacred covenant with the highest realms. While others stumbled in the shadows of fear and deception, you moved rooted in a power cultivated through intentional communion with divine forces. Their attempts at spiritual warfare were met with serene indifference, for you understood that acknowledging the darkness only gave it breath. Your silence was a fortress, your unwavering faith an unshakable shield. You didn't engage the battle on their terms. You transcended it entirely, embodying a presence that no shadow could ever touch. You refused the temptation to mirror their rage or meet their venom with bitterness. Instead, you poured your energy into raising your vibration higher. Each prayer, each moment of stillness, each act of compassion, fueling a radiant force that outshone every shadow cast against you. You knew true power lies not in retaliation, but in unwavering faith and relentless light. As the dark campaigns unfurled, divine justice moved swiftly and with precision, striking with the suddenness of lightning, dismantling every scheme, and restoring balance with a force that no human hand could wield. Your victory was not in battle, but in sacred surrender to the greater truth that light always prevails. The carefully woven webs of deceit unraveled faster than anyone could anticipate, leaving your adversaries trapped in their own tangled lies. Those they sought to sway opened their eyes, piercing through the smoke and mirrors with newfound clarity. The narrative they tried to control slipped like sand through their fingers, turning their own plots into prisons of self-destruction. What was meant to break you only shattered their resolve, exposing their desperation for all to witness. As their confidence dissolved, the weight of their failure crushed them, while you stood untouched, steadfast and illuminated by truth that no falsehood could dim. The venom meant for you rebounded, turning their world into a storm of shame and division. As chaos consumed them, you floated above the turmoil, a steady flame untouched by the wild winds below. Your peace was an unbreakable sanctuary, your spirit radiating strength that no attack could diminish. While their desperation echoed loudly, you moved forward with unwavering purpose, treating their noise as distant static against the symphony of your destined path. In the face of their unraveling, your light shone brighter, a testament to the power of calm resilience in a world desperate for control. Eyes once clouded by doubt began to clear as they witnessed the quiet strength you embodied amidst the storm. While others frayed at the edges, scrambling to reclaim control, you remained a steady presence, grounded, composed, and unwavering. Your daily commitment to grace and purpose became a living proof of authenticity, a beacon that illuminated the divide between truth and deception. Those who observed could no longer ignore the undeniable contrast, your unshakable character standing tall against the unraveling chaos of your detractors. In that clarity, your victory was silently celebrated by all who truly saw. Your calm was a deliberate act of sovereignty, an unyielding declaration that you would not be dragged into battles meant to dilute your power. You held the higher ground, knowing that true strength lies in mastery over self, not in reaction to chaos. While they schemed for drama and discord, you cultivated peace and purpose, allowing divine timing to orchestrate the outcome. Your refusal to engage on their terms became the ultimate disruption, a strategy so profound that it left them disarmed and confused, powerless against the steady force of your spirit. Every attempt to tarnish your name only polished the brilliance of your true self, casting a light so pure it exposed the shadows lurking in others. As lies multiplied, your integrity stood unwavering, a beacon of truth that could not be dimmed. The cracks in their facades widened, revealing pettiness and deceit that alienated them from the very people they sought to influence. Meanwhile, your circle grew stronger, rooted in authenticity, and built on the solid foundation of respect and loyalty. In the face of chaos, your legacy was not broken. It was forged anew, unshakable, and radiant for all to witness. The crossroads between deception and reality became clear as those around you weighed what their eyes had seen against the whispers they were fed. Your reputation, grounded in unwavering authenticity and steady integrity, outshone every false narrative. It wasn't crafted by words or illusions, but by a lifetime of consistent truthfulness and genuine action. Slowly, the veil lifted for many, revealing the predictable cycles of deceit spun by your attackers, patterns of manipulation that only deepened their isolation. In choosing truth, your community aligned with the unbreakable spirit you embody, embracing the light that never wavered amid the storm. Their relentless fixation on your downfall became a mirror reflecting their own turmoil, revealing insecurity, bitterness, and fractured souls. In contrast, your quiet strength and composed grace painted a portrait of wisdom far beyond their reach. Without uttering a harsh word in retaliation, you showed the world that true power lies in restraint and self-mastery. Your character became the undeniable testament, cutting through the noise and confusion, guiding onlookers to the unmistakable truth that you embody honor, resilience, and a spirit untouched by petty conflict. There was no need for you to plead or justify your truth. Your unwavering authenticity had already carved an unassailable legacy. Every attempt to sully your name only illuminated the stark contrast between your genuine spirit and the shallow tactics of your adversaries. As their initial efforts crumbled, desperation crept in, manifesting in frantic pleas to sway hearts against you. Yet the foundation you built with honesty and integrity remained firm, unshaken by their cries. In the quiet strength of your presence, the world recognized not just who you are, but who they could never be. In their frantic attempts to diminish your light, they resorted to pleading and manipulation, trying to blind others to the undeniable truth of your worth. Their desperation painted a clear picture, a fearful admission that your value was too great to be easily erased. They begged for blindness, hoping to shroud your honor and authenticity in doubt, but their efforts only revealed the depth of their own insecurity. Meanwhile, your true essence shone brighter with every whispered lie, unbreakable and radiant, a beacon that no amount of darkness could ever dim or distort. Cloaked in smiles and hollow praise, they tried to weave webs of deceit under the guise of friendship, hoping to fracture your truth from within. But beneath the surface, their schemes were transparent, shadows flickering against the steady flame of your authenticity. No mask could hide their intent, nor could their false warmth dilute the power of your genuine energy. Drawn by the unmistakable light of your spirit, people saw beyond the facade, instinctively gravitating toward your sincerity. Their propaganda crumbled in the face of your unshakable presence, proving once again that truth cannot be silenced by deception. Every calculated charm, every subtle attempt to rewrite your story and blur your brilliance was met with the unyielding truth of your authentic essence. They tried to dim a light that burns from within, a light forged in sincerity, resilience, and undeniable worth. Their contrived negotiations and feigned warmth only cast sharper shadows on their own deceit, exposing their desperation to anyone with eyes to see. Your presence, radiant and unshakable, stood as a testament that true value cannot be masked, bought, or broken. In the face of their manipulation, your spirit remained a rare and precious force, impossible to conceal, impossible to ignore. The dissonance between their public masks and private schemes echoed loudly to those with discerning hearts. While they wore facades of friendliness, their true intentions leaked through cracks in their performance, clear as day to anyone willing to see. In stark contrast, you nurtured real bonds rooted in honesty and mutual respect, cultivating a circle of souls drawn to your unwavering authenticity. As their propaganda crumbled like brittle glass, your steady character became a lighthouse, guiding those lost in deception toward the clarity of truth. Your genuine energy was a magnet, attracting kindred spirits who could feel the purity of your light amid the noise of falsehood. Their desperation birthed lies spun from thin air, photos altered, stories twisted, and accusations forged in shadow. Yet their deceit was as brittle as glass, cracking under the weight of truth and scrutiny. Every probe into your life revealed nothing but unwavering integrity, leaving no room for their falsehoods to take root. Their transparency and fabrication only highlighted the purity of your path, a stark reminder that no amount of counterfeit evidence can obscure the brilliance of an authentic soul. In their frantic attempts to dismantle you, they only illuminated the strength and incorruptible nature of your character. Your spotless record stood as a testament to a lifetime of deliberate integrity and unwavering commitment to truth. Each conscious choice you made was a brick in the foundation of your honorable life, impervious to the chaos swirling around you. As your detractors spiraled into reckless and erratic behavior, their desperation only underscored the unshakable strength of your character. While they clawed at shadows, every investigation unearthed the undeniable proof of your authentic spiritual practice, ethical conduct, and genuine care for others. A legacy built not by chance, but by the steady flame of your soul's conviction. Every probe into your life only revealed the radiant truth of your character, more powerful than any argument or defense you could have offered. Faced with threats and intimidation, you stood firm in your authenticity, refusing to let fear twist your spirit or close your heart. Your calm trust in divine protection preserved the purity of your energy, allowing you to move through turmoil unscathed. As you deepened your ability to see clearly who belonged in your life, your circle of genuine souls grew stronger and brighter, while toxic influences naturally fell away. Watching this unfold, desperation among your adversaries soared to a frantic, uncontrollable pitch. The frantic echoes of desperation rippled through every network. Community leaders, mutual friends, family, and even potential lovers all swept into a storm of wild accusations aimed at painting you as the source of chaos. These weren't casual whispers, but full-blown emergency broadcasts, orchestrated to poison minds and dismantle your reputation before new bonds could form. Yet your unwavering dignity in the face of such relentless attacks turned the tide. The absurdity of their claims became impossible to ignore, unraveling their carefully woven lies. One by one, community members stepped back, refusing to fuel the harassment, leaving the orchestrators isolated in their own delusion. Your calm and peaceful presence stood as a silent rebuke, a powerful reminder that true strength doesn't need to shout to be heard, and that the one who remains unshaken in the storm cannot be the cause of its fury. Your calm withdrawal from the swirling storm cast a harsh spotlight on the unhealthy fixation others had developed. As observers took note, questions arose about the obsessive energy poured into dismantling someone who consistently chose peace over conflict. The stark contrast between your serene daily life and the frantic chaos of their emergency calls painted a disturbing picture, one that felt less like confrontation and more like relentless stalking. In that quiet distance, your unshakable serenity became a mirror, reflecting back the irrational desperation of those caught in their own spirals, revealing the true imbalance in the narrative they desperately tried to control. Your deliberate refusal to dive into the chaos, to engage in frantic calls or launch retaliations, radiated a quiet wisdom that resonated deeply with all who witnessed. It became clear that true integrity requires no battleground, no rallies to prove one's worth. Your authentic presence alone spoke volumes, calm, composed, and unwavering, showing that genuine character is its own defense. In a world hungry for drama, your steady grace stood out as a beacon, inspiring respect and admiration from those seeking truth beyond noise and spectacle. Accusations of manipulation, deception, and harm were hurled like weapons, but these sharp arrows missed their mark, revealing more about the accusers than about you. Their desperate attempts to silence your voice and control the narrative only exposed the one-sided nature of their stories. Every negative label stuck to you was nothing more than a reflection of their own actions, a projection of their hidden aggression and insecurity. As undeniable evidence surfaced, the truth became clear. The behaviors they condemned in you were the very ones they embodied. The veil of deception lifted, allowing all to see who truly carried the burden of conflict and who remained the embodiment of integrity. Your unblemished character shone brighter as the fog of falsehoods dissolved into nothingness. Each fabricated accusation faltered under the weight of your transparent, authentic life, a life lived openly, without disguise or deceit. Those who truly knew you stood as living witnesses, their first-hand experiences forming an unbreakable shield of truth around you. The stark contrast between your genuine actions and the baseless claims made the lies impossible to ignore. In every sense, your commitment to authenticity became the most powerful defense, turning deception into its own undoing. They heard the unmistakable call and answered with courage, uniting with kindred spirits who carry both the weight and the wonder of their extraordinary gifts. What holds you back from stepping into this circle of light and power? The synchronicities that led them here were no coincidence. Neither is your arrival at this message. When souls of such caliber converge, unseen forces stir in fear, knowing the unstoppable force that awakens when the truly enlightened come together. Step into our weekly gatherings, listen to their truths, share your own path with those who honor and uplift you. Within our sacred space, wisdom flows freely, secrets and revelations you won't find anywhere else in this world. Your radiant peace and unshakable spiritual power created a magnetic field impossible to resist, even for those who once opposed you. By consciously stepping back from toxic connections, you revealed a truth hidden beneath the surface, the desperation of those who had grown dependent on your authentic energy. Their frantic need to reclaim what was freely given exposed a codependency far deeper than simple dislike or envy. The withdrawal they experienced was a mirror reflecting their own inner turmoil, making clear that their attacks were fueled not by hatred, but by an urgent craving for the light you embodied and then chose to protect by setting boundaries. Severing those ties ignited a wave of desperation that peeled back the masks, exposing hidden agendas and true intentions. Your steadfast refusal to be lured into recycled drama through hollow attempts at reconciliation proved the depth of your wisdom and growth. No longer trapped in repeating patterns, you recognized the difference between sincere transformation and mere theatrics of change. With clear discernment, you guarded your boundaries firmly, shielding your spirit from manipulation, while still holding space for genuine healing and spiritual evolution when it emerged. This conscious detachment from karmic entanglements became your fortress, preventing old cycles from reclaiming your energy and peace. You knew that stepping in to help would only pull you into webs woven by unresolved mistakes and avoidance. Instead, you chose to preserve your clarity, nurturing relationships rooted in respect and truth, while the storm of karmic turmoil swirled beyond your reach. This unwavering dedication to healing your own wounds and living with spiritual integrity became a beacon, drawing toward you those who had also committed to their own growth and sought authenticity over drama. Together, you formed a sanctuary of conscious souls rising above chaos. The downfall accelerated as refusal to own mistakes deepened the divide. Rather than reflecting and transforming, the relentless cycle of toxicity escalated, fueled by misplaced blame directed at you. Their stubborn denial of accountability only tightened the noose of their own undoing, turning every failed attempt into a catalyst for further chaos and self-destruction.